The Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ began its journey in Africa as part of its global expansion, which intensified in the 1990s under the leadership of Brother Aaronio G. Manalo, the second executive minister of the church. The African continent became one of the key regions for international missionary work as INC sought to spread its faith beyond Asia and the Western world. Here's an overview of how Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ started its mission in Africa. 1. Early missionary efforts. The INC's global expansion officially began in the 1960s, but it was in the 1990s that serious efforts to establish the church in Africa began. Africa posed unique challenges, such as language barriers, diverse cultures, and geographical issues. Nevertheless, INC's determination to spread its teachings motivated them to enter the continent. The church sent missionaries to African nations to introduce its beliefs to local communities. These missionaries were tasked with forming small congregations by conducting Bible studies and evangelical missions. The African mission was driven by the same zeal that led to the establishment of INC congregations in other parts of the world. 2. First congregations established. South Africa became the first country in Africa where the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ successfully established a congregation in the early 2000s. The city of Johannesburg hosted the first official congregation in the region. South Africa's diverse population made it an ideal starting point, as it provided a multicultural environment for INC to spread its faith. Over time, the church established congregations in other African countries, such as Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, Zambia, and Liberia. These countries became hubs for INC's missionary activities in their respective regions. 3. Evangelical missions and humanitarian outreach. Iglesia Ni Cristo's African expansion was supported by both evangelical missions and humanitarian outreach programs. As part of their efforts to connect with local communities, the church organized aid programs, distributing goods and offering free services such as medical care through the Lingap Sa Mamamayan, or Aid for Humanity program. These outreach efforts helped INC build trust and goodwill with local populations, making it easier to introduce their religious teachings. The humanitarian work often served as an entry point to their evangelical missions. 4. Language and cultural adaptation. The Iglesia Ni Cristo adapted its approach to address the linguistic and cultural diversity of Africa. Worship services and Bible studies were conducted in various local languages, in addition to English and other international languages. Missionaries were trained to engage with local cultures respectfully, ensuring that INC's message was conveyed in ways that resonated with African community. 5. Expansion and recognition. By the 2010s, INC's presence in Africa had grown significantly. New congregations were established in more countries, and existing congregations began to thrive. The church's influence in Africa became more prominent, and Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ was able to establish a strong foundation in several countries. In 2018, INC made headlines when it inaugurated the first eco-farming site in Ladybrand, South Africa. This project was part of the church's broader initiative to promote sustainable farming practices while helping local communities. The eco-farming site also served as a center for humanitarian aid distribution. 6. Growth under Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Under the leadership of the current executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, INC's expansion in Africa has accelerated. Eduardo Manalo emphasized the importance of global missions. In strengthening the presence of INC in various continents, including Africa, regular worship services, Bible studies, and humanitarian missions continue to be organized across Africa, leading to an increasing number of converts and congregations. 7. Ongoing mission work. Today, Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ continues to expand its missionary activities in Africa. As of 2024, the church has established more congregations and local chapels in countries like Ghana, Angola, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. The church is committed to furthering its presence in Africa through continued evangelism and aid programs. The Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ started its journey in Africa through persistent missionary work, adaptation to local cultures and languages, and humanitarian efforts. From its first congregation in South Africa, the church has expanded to several other African nations, gaining followers and building a strong presence on the continent. Through a combination of evangelism and outreach, INC has laid the groundwork for continued growth in Africa.